Okay, so welcome. I guess this is going to be the Q&A. I'm just on my way to a live show. It's with a band. I don't know if maybe I mentioned it in one of my previous videos, that I haven't played with for several years, and we just kind of had this sort of reunion or whatever. We decided to play again after a few years, so I'm just heading to that. Unfortunately, as I was packing up my gear, I noticed that I forgot my good camera. It's at school, so I don't know if I'll be able to get any good footage of the live, but maybe I can use some of the equipment I have here, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I've been meaning to do this Q&A, which I think maybe almost a month ago I asked for you to send me some questions, and I was prepared to do this Q&A at the end of last month, but then suddenly we hit 4,000, and I had a giveaway which kind of took my time. But now I'm back on course, so I'm gonna answer your questions as well as a few other questions that I have included. Mostly they come from Jadan. He's a guy named Dan who lives in Japan. His channel's Jadan. Some of you may already know him, but he posed a few questions around Christmas time, and I decided to mix them in with these questions here, so get it all done at once. So yeah, I'm just on my way to the concert, and I'm just gonna answer the questions. I've got them all listed here. I apologize if I have forgotten who asked what, but hopefully you'll recognize your questions. And one more thing, some of these questions are questions that I have already answered, or that you can find the answer if you go to Kevin's podcast. I don't know, some of you may remember I was a guest on his podcast last month. If you want to hear like more information, I think it's about an hour long. We actually talked about things. I'll put a link down in the description, so please go check out that podcast. He has, it's called the Just Japan podcast. Okay, so the first question is, how long have you been on YouTube? And do you have any other channels? Well, basically I started... Come on, let's go. Okay, basically I started doing YouTube a couple years ago, just for the purpose of recording concerts and things, right? So I actually won some money in a poker game, and I decided to buy a little camera. It's a Zoom Q3 HD is what I use, which unfortunately I don't have with me today because it's at school, to record concerts and things. So I started recording concerts. At the time I played in a band. We were a punk band. We do a lot of Beatles covers, so there are many Beatles cover bands in Japan, especially in this area, and they have names derived from some variation of the Beatles, like the Beatless, the Beatfuls, etc., etc. But since we were a punk band, we called ourselves the Beat Offs, right? Which, you know, has various meanings of its own. So my channel, the underlying core name of my channel is actually called the Beat Offs for that reason. The Beat Offs, then we kind of stopped playing for a while, and I got a new band which was called Critical Hit. So my channel switched its name to Critical Hit. I started to do more vlogs and food reviews, so I changed my channel name. Gradually it was Critical Hit Eats Japan, and then I just dropped the hit, and now it became Critical Eats Japan. Critical Hit, we no longer play together. However, I do play with the Beat Offs, and tonight I'm playing with a band called Dark Horse. So this is my old original band, and we do a lot of Neil Young covers. So we'll see what happens, I guess. So that, hopefully that answers the question. Do I have any other channels? Well, I think I started another channel years ago, and it but I've never really done anything with it. So well, there you go. There you can see hopefully Mount Fuji right there. But yeah, basically this is my only channel that I use. Question number 2, what does your username mean? I think I pretty much answered that just now. Critical Eats Japan came from Critical Hit, which was my old band name. Okay, and what inspired you to start making videos? I think I just answered that as well. So yeah, just recording concerts, I guess, and then eventually I started to do more. What messages are you trying to get across from your videos? Well, essentially, I'm just trying to show neat stuff that we got in Japan here. Quite often, as you are well aware, I pick brand names that I think people will be already familiar with. You know, Doritos, Cheetos, McDonald's, this kind of thing. And hopefully I can show you just some neat stuff that we have here. Hopefully I can make this light. And I think I can make that light. Okay. So in case you're wondering, we're just crossing, I think, is this the Shingen Bridge? Or that's the one up there? I'm not sure, but we're just crossing a bridge over the Fuji River, I believe. And we're heading into Minami Alps, which is the southern Alps of Japan. I think it's the only city in Japan, or the only mountain range in Japan, something that uses the katakana in its name, something like that. I don't know, I'll have to look that up. Okay, so hopefully we get a chance to, I guess hopefully we get a chance to change lanes first. And then I'll get on to the next question. So if I get there before I finish these questions, I guess I'll just have to finish them off later, because I got to get there for a sound check. Okay, here we go. Where are you from, and how long have you been in Japan? So I'm from Canada, and I've been in Japan for about 15 years now. I haven't always lived in this exact town that I live in, but I have lived in this prefecture, which is Yamanashi, which is the prefecture just west of Tokyo. So I can get to Tokyo relatively easy. Like yesterday I just went there and came home, you know, all in one day. I actually went to watch Steve's magic show. I don't know if you remember Steve. He was a guest, not a guest, he was in one of my videos, or in a couple of my videos. We went to the Shake Shack and to Wendy's together, but he's actually a professional magician, so I went to check out his performance. Yeah, it was pretty good. What made you move to Japan? How often do you go home? Okay, so I came to Japan to teach English on the JET program. If you don't know what the JET program is, it's the largest sort of recruiting program run by the Japanese government to bring people over to Japan to teach English. There's usually a dog. Oh, there it is. It's facing to the left today. Sometimes it's facing to the right. But anyhow, I came over with that program, and basically you submit an application. The only requirements were there's some sort of age limits, and also you need a degree, university degree. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to have English. You could have pretty much any field of study, as long as you are an English speaker. You can apply for this, and they will decide your posting throughout the whole country. So this is where I got sent, and I guess I've been here ever since. I'm not on JET anymore. I work privately for the city now, but it's kind of essentially the same sort of work. Okay, it looks like we're coming up to a live house here, so I'm just gonna pull in. Hopefully we got some time to finish off these questions. It's starting to get dark too, so actually, yeah, here we go. Yeah, I don't know if it's, there's Fuji behind that. Yeah, this this is kind of the countryside, those greenhouses and these trees and stuff. Like, this area is kind of famous for peaches and grapes and things like that. So yeah, is it okay if I continue? It's not the greatest view at the front window there, so let me just continue. Yeah, a lot of people are wondering about this pot leaf here. Well, in Japan, this has absolutely no connotation to it at all. If you want a car freshener, we don't have the little tree ones. You can either get this fun leaf design or a kind of girly sort of feather thing. So that's why I have the pot leaf. It's coconut. Okay, what genre is your channel? Or what would you call it? I guess it's a little bit of everything. Like, I know there's a lot of other kind of foreigners who live in Japan that focus mainly on doing vlogs and things like that. Whereas in my case, like I said, I mostly do Japanese foods, snacks and things. But occasionally I do vlogs. Like, if you're familiar with my friend Andrew Higgins in Japan channel, he does a lot of culture and a lot of talking about what it's like to live and work in Japan as an ALT. And then he occasionally does some, you know, crazy snack reviews and stuff like that. Whereas I'm the opposite. I kind of do the snack reviews and then there's like a touch of culture, I guess. So, what's the best food item and drink you've tried on Conbini Quest? Yeah, now Conbini Quest is a program that I have on my channel where I sneak into a convenience store and I look for some sort of snack and then I just eat it in my car. The best thing I've tried? That's a tough question. Probably one of my favorite things that I have tried that I just like in general is this brand of potato chips that's made by Calbee that's called Pizza Potato. And they actually have little globs of cheese on each and every chip. That's probably one of my favorite things to eat. My favorite drink? It might be like the Italian Fanta, I think. Italian lime Fanta was pretty good. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that I have tried. I haven't really tried anything too disgusting on Conbini Quest. So I might just stop here and I'll pick up the rest of this Q&A tomorrow.